Do you have any plans to call President Lai of Taiwan before you make a decision on the weapons package?
I'll speak to him. I speak to everybody. We have that situation very well in hand.
President Trump attempts to present an idealized, reassuring portrait of the Taiwan situation to the public and allies. But beneath that polished narrative, the ground reality on the island and in the region tells a far more complex and precarious story. While the US president insists that Washington has the Taiwan situation under control and can manage any escalation, the real strategic decisions and overwhelming leverage appear to rest with Xi Jinping and Beijing, whose diplomatic, economic, and military moves largely shape outcomes. Beijing has reportedly suspended the planned visit of a senior aide from Hegseth, signaling that Taipei's recent actions and political stance may be complicating or stalling efforts to normalize and advance cross-strait and China-US engagement. Trump faces a stark dilemma: whether to push forward with a substantial $14 billion aid package for Taiwan, risking Beijing's anger and retaliatory measures, or to temper US support in hopes of preserving or restoring a more cooperative relationship with China. The balance of influence over Taiwan seems to tilt toward Xi Jinping, whose political resolve and strategic tools give Beijing the upper hand and limit how effectively President Trump can shape events or protect US interests in the face of Chinese pressure. Beijing is delaying approval for a proposed visit by the Pentagon's Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, putting a planned high-level dialogue on hold as officials await clearer signals from Washington about broader bilateral relations. Defense Undersecretary Elbridge Colby reportedly discussed making a summer trip to Beijing, indicating US interest in maintaining direct military-to-military and policy channels despite rising tensions between the two capitals. Chinese officials have signaled they cannot approve the visit until President Trump decides how he will proceed with a contested arms package for Taiwan, tying diplomatic and defense exchanges to the outcome of that sensitive policy decision. Neither the Pentagon nor China's foreign ministry has issued an official statement about the proposed trip, leaving both the timing and the fate of the visit unclear as the situation remains diplomatically delicate. Details of the matter were reported by the Financial Times via Reuters on May 21st, underscoring how international media has been tracking the standoff and the potential diplomatic consequences of US actions. This development comes as China intensifies pressure on the United States over a proposed $14 billion weapons package for Taiwan, framing the dispute as a core issue that could influence broader bilateral cooperation. President Trump had visited Beijing on May 14th to 15th for high-level talks with Xi Jinping, a trip that set expectations for improved communication, but has so far not resolved underlying strategic disagreements between the two leaders. After the trip, President Trump said he had not yet made a final decision on whether to proceed with the proposed weapons sale to Taiwan, leaving Washington's next steps deliberately open as both allies and adversaries watched for a signal. On May 20th, Trump told reporters that he planned to speak with Taiwan's president, Ching, indicating an intention to maintain direct contact even as the broader policy question over arms transfers remained unresolved.
Do you have any plans to call President Lai of Taiwan before you make a decision on the weapons package?
I'll speak to him. I speak to everybody. We have that situation very well in hand. We had a great meeting with President Xi. It was amazing, actually. It was amazing. Many of you were there. We'll work on that, the Taiwan problem.
A formal call between the United States and Taiwan had not been scheduled at the time, Reuters reported, underscoring the cautious, tentative nature of any imminent high-level communication. On May 21st, Taiwan's President Ching said he would be happy to speak to Trump, marking the pair's first conversation since Trump visited China on May 14th to 15th. Any direct conversation between US and Taiwan officials would likely provoke anger in Beijing, which regards official interactions with Taipei as a sensitive challenge to its sovereignty claims, the report added. US officials pointed out that during his tenure Trump has approved weapons sales to Taiwan more frequently than most other recent presidents, highlighting a pattern of robust arms commitments despite diplomatic friction. Under US law, Washington is required to provide Taiwan with the means to defend itself, a statutory obligation that frames and constrains American policy choices on military support for the island. Both Republican and Democratic lawmakers have urged the Trump administration to proceed with weapons sales, reflecting bipartisan congressional pressure to sustain Taiwan's defense capabilities amid growing regional tensions. Taiwan's defense minister, Wellington Koo, said he was cautiously optimistic about continued arms sales from the United States, expressing guarded hope while acknowledging the political sensitivities involved. Remember, during Trump's visit to Beijing, Xi Jinping issued a pointed warning to the United States, a reminder that the Chinese leadership can and will use strong rhetoric and leverage to influence Washington's decisions on Taiwan. Taiwan issue emerged as a major point in talks that were otherwise dominated by the conflict involving Iran and the wider Middle East crisis. During their closed-door discussions, Xi warned Trump that US support for Taiwan, if pushed too far, could lead to clashes and conflicts between Washington and Beijing. He reportedly went further, saying that if the Taiwan issue was mishandled, the United States and China could come into conflict, leaving little doubt about where China's red lines lie. Subsequently, the official White House readout on the summit appeared to skip any mention of Taiwan, adding to the sense that the topic was too sensitive to spell out publicly. Trump also seemed to dodge a question on Taiwan during his choreographed visit to the Temple of Heaven with Xi, reinforcing the impression that he did not want to publicly provoke Beijing on camera.
Did you talk about Taiwan?
Great place, great, incredible. China's beautiful.
At the same time, Taiwan declared that it would maintain close ties with the United States following Xi's threat, signaling that Taipei has no intention of backing away from its key security partner. Xi Jinping, for his part, said that US-China ties were the most important in the world and insisted we must never mess it up, underlining the paradox of a relationship that is vital yet constantly strained over Taiwan.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.